Hello, my name is Yuri. I have a master's degree in psychology, and I wanted to talk about human beings and how we trade and how we live among each other and how we create an economy. So, we have the regular economy, that's the capitalistic system, that's what we have now. Maybe not in Cuba and North Korea, but in other countries, we have a regular system of capitalistic structure where we have the free trade and can trade goods amongst companies amongst each other. But in a planned economy like Cuba, North Korea, Soviet Union, and then still China to a degree, Vietnam to a degree to a higher degree, Venezuela too now. They are doing something called planned economy, so they are trying to create a socialist state, communist state, and you do that by first trying to create a planned economy, trying to make that work, and then later on you can at least the idea is that then later on you reach another stage where you go past the planned economy, past the capitalistic system, past all of that, and then create a perfect utopia state where everyone is happy, everyone just works as much as they want to work, and they get back as much as they need back. So no one is just becoming a millionaire, billionaire. Everyone is happy with what they need. But the goods are still being produced and everything we need is being produced. And let's see how planned economy work. So planned economy and trade, that's the unsolvable problem because the trade part of it, right? Let's see. How do you create capitalism without capitalism? How does Venezuela do it? How does Cuba do it? How does North Korea do it? Or Soviet Union? Or all other communist or socialist states? So you have three problems. Not just three problems I found that you need to solve, right? So a planned economy is top-down management where one leader or more leaders or a group of leaders. In China, it's extremely rich people controlling the state, controlling all decisions and not allowing any vote. In Cuba, it's also a military dictatorship, and North Korea the same way. Venezuela also a dictatorship, right? So a family or group of very powerful people tell the people that they want to create a socialist state. The people, they defend them, they fight for them, they die for them, they elect them, and then the people wait for the socialist state and the utopia, and it never comes about because these three problems have never been solved by any socialist or communist state. So let's look at them. Motivate a worker to work. That's the first problem, right? You need to motivate a worker to work, and in a capitalist system, you use money. Of course, in a utopia, you don't have any money, but even in a socialist state where everything is controlled top down, you don't have this free trade. So a worker is probably not motivated to work by someone wanting something from him and wanting to buy something from him because the state decides what you work on and what you do. Then two, produce goods consistent with actual needs. That too, of course, if I want a new cell phone, if I want a new car, if I want this food and not this food, or if I want food served a certain way, or if I want clothes that I can wear a certain way or look this or this way, then I cannot get that unless there's some capitalism system or free market where I can ask someone to produce something or buy something from somewhere that fit my needs. And then three, motivate a worker or company to be creative and constantly improve. Again, if a state or planned economy, if someone decides what to create, if there's not this free market and the need for consumption, to create a motivation and creativity in the company to be able so they can compete against other companies, then we have a problem because if only one company produces a good, then why should they compete? Why should they be creative? Why should they constantly improve and stress about improving stuff like a cell phone or a car? Or why should they work 50 hours a week to make a super safe car when they can work 30 hours a week and not make that safe car and earn exactly the same? Let's see, motivate a worker to work. Right now it's a capitalistic system. So basically if I can build a wall and you can give me some food, either in a restaurant or catch some food or whatever, then we can exchange goods, right? Also, I can build a wall for you and you can give me some money and I can spend the money in a third place altogether. So this is the capitalistic system. There's a lot of money here. I can also, if I'm really good at building walls, maybe I can start my company. Maybe I'm good at structuring work, telling workers what to do, and doing a lot of paperwork. So maybe I can grow my company and become really, really good at building walls in the company. So I can build walls for hospitals or police stations or fire stations and stuff like that, and create a really, really nice society. But at the same time, I also get some money back so I can grow my company and become, maybe invest some money in research and development, or maybe buy some food for the workers, or give them a higher wage, or maybe hire more workers so a lot of workers can get a job. And that's the motivate a worker to work, right? Because if there's a planned economy and there's not this motivation to earn something so I can consume, then where does this motivation come from? So I just work because I like to work. Okay, so who will work the hard jobs? Who will work the boring jobs? Who will work the nasty jobs? And who will work long hours? Because right now a lot of people are working long hours to create everything you see around you, like cell phones or computers, electronics, kitchens, windows. And of course, a lot of this motivation will just disappear overnight in a planned economy. Let's say I work building walls, but there's a city a long distance away, and maybe even in a hard to access area. They need some walls. Maybe I have my own company building walls. Maybe I can build walls. But either way, this city really, really needs someone with my skills. So I need to get there, right? I need to have a car to get there, because the city I'm living in doesn't really need my skills that much. So they kind of, in the planned economy, the state kind of pays me anyway. But the other city is building a hospital, so they really, really need someone with my skills, because otherwise they cannot build the hospital. I need to get there, right? So I need a car. And I want to buy a car. And how it works today in a capitalistic society, in a libertarian society, is that just that we compete, car manufacturers compete for customers, and they build the best car they can, the safest car, the car in the right color, the car in the right size, the right gas consumption. But in the planned economy, there's no one listening to these needs. So no one is asking me, hey Yuri, what do you want, right? And then asking me, okay, how much money do you have? I have so much money. Okay, we can give you this and this car. And we also mass produce it and sell it all over the world because consumers want it. Here the state produces cars or everything else. So who is this car made for? How big is it? How is the gas consumption? Where can I buy it? How long do I need to wait? In Soviet Russia, you could wait like for years for a car. You could order a car and then wait years. And also mostly you could just get a ladder, right? So it's a really terrible car. Unsafe, breaks down all the time. It's just a terrible, terrible car. And just because the workers just made whatever the state told them to make. They just made a car. Someone needs a car, they made a car. But of course today I can go into a car shop and then order the car that's specialized for my needs. And I can even, get some extra equipment inside the car that suits my needs. Maybe I'm handicapped, so I need a special car, right? Maybe something else. Maybe I like music that plays a certain way because I was born with these and these kind of ears and hearing. And that's of course this third problem of motivate a company to improve and make cheap. Right now we have companies competing against each other. So for example, iPhone, Apple producing iPhones, and then you have Google also producing your operating system, Android. You have Samsung producing phones. You have a lot of companies competing against each other. Even Samsung just buying stuff, right, for their phone. They will like ask one company to produce some glass, or ask another company to produce a glass, ask for a price, and all these companies will compete. And at the end you get this phone that you really, really like. And every year it improves, right? So a lot of companies try to pay their workers, they try to survive in the industry, and they try to sell some goods because a lot of these workers and company owners, they want to make a profit. They want to live and they want to survive. And these owners, they also want, of course, they need a profit because they want to constantly research and develop the goods they are producing. And also maybe they want to build a hospital in some poor country. Let's say probably not Cuba and North Korea that are poor countries, but let's say Russia was former communist country. It's still pretty poor. Poland, former communist country. They want to build a hospital there for the people, right? To help out the people. So you still need a lot of money to build a hospital. And you can just give them a hospital like this if you are rich. Yes, what else? Basically, that's this, because in a state, in a planned economy, where you say, okay, not right now we are going to abolish money, or going to abolish this capitalistic system of free trade, and going to decide what needs to be built and how, you have these kind of complications with the different kind of motivations. Let's look at them again. Motivate a worker to work long hours, certain kind of jobs, motivate him to work constantly also at this, producing this, and maybe not go not retire too early. Also maybe he wants to maybe take his family on a vacation. Maybe he wants to send his kids to a special school where they have cool playgrounds or something like that. So there's some motivation to work, right, and produce. Or maybe he wants to have a lot of money so he can give money to a charity or build a hospital. Because right now hospitals can of course not be built by single people. You need a huge amount of money to build something like that. Produce goods consistent with actual needs. Again, where does this? Right now, companies are listening to people. They are listening to money. Money speaks. Money talks to them. It tells them to produce this and this kind of good, and they produce it, of course, for us, so we can consume it. Food, maybe something else. And also creative and constantly improve. This is also a problem with socialist countries. They don't really need to improve. You can look at North Korea, how they are functioning right now. It's the state is deciding what the workers do and when they do it, and this kind of constant improvement and creativity is not really there. Also because the state always wants to control the workers, because when we can only create socialism and communism by controlling people and deciding what they need to do for the state as a whole. So it's a fascist system, it's a nationalistic system, it's a top-down managed system. And if you don't manage it, if you don't control the workers, if you don't control the people, they will start to trade internally. They will automatically create a capitalistic system. So they would just go about and trade and become kind of a libertarian system. So you need this force, but still, even though you have this force, even though you have this great idea of, okay, now I'm Castro and I want to create a perfect utopia, you have these problems and they have never been solved as of yet. And yeah, let's see how they are solved. Maybe if robots are producing everything for us and we don't need to do anything at all, let's look at that in the future. Okay, thank you. That was all.